Welcome to the Coffee Break Podcast. I'm Marquese Howard, Marketing, Media, and Communications Coordinator. For today's episode, we'll have an exciting guest. Commissioner Gray from the Office of Child Support Services will join us to discuss her vision and perspective on child support at a national level and how the changes in her office could help support you and your family. I can't wait to get started and hope you have your cup of coffee ready. Now let's enjoy the break. Welcome, Commissioner Gray, and thank you so much for joining us. Would you mind just introducing yourself?
Absolutely, and thank you again so much for the invitation to participate. My name is Tanguler Gray, and I am currently serving as the Commissioner for the Federal Office of Child Support Services. And so I'm so happy to be here with you today.
Well, thank you so much, and we are very happy that you are on the call with us today as well. Now, the Commissioner is a pretty big title. Would you mind on sharing your experience to allow you to lead this position that you're in?
Absolutely. So I'll start off by just sharing with people where I'm from. I'm from this really small town called Pelham, Georgia. A lot of people don't know where it is. It's about 37 miles south of Albany, Georgia. Attended Valdosta State University and obtained an accounting degree. Transitioned out thinking I would become this well-renowned certified public accountant and didn't have the funds to take the exam or the course. And so I pursued employment with the Georgia Department of Human Services. Started my career as an accounting clerk. And just fell in love with the child support program. 9 promotional opportunities, and 25 years later, I found myself in the role of director of the Division of Child Support Services. And then I stayed in that role for about 7 years. And then I was appointed to the Deputy Commissioner's role for the Georgia Department of Human Services. And in that role, you are responsible for multiple programs, not just child support. So I had leadership's responsibility for the refugee program, the aging program, the child support program. We had a medical doctor on staff that focused on our DFACS population for foster care children. I also had responsibility for the Office of Strategic Planning, that handled a lot of our strategic plans and budgets that were required to be reported to the governor's office. So I was just blessed with the opportunity to be exposed to other services and then later appointed to this role as commissioner in December of 2021.
Well, you know what? That leads me right into my next question. Since December 2021, would you mind on sharing some key initiatives or things that you wanted to ensure took place as your new appointment in the position?
Absolutely. So many of our child support professionals have heard me talk about the vision of engagement. Engagement is a really broad term. And so I wanted to make sure that we were clearly communicating what they should expect from us and what we expected from our child support community as it relates to that vision. So the vision is to be realized through 3 Ps. The first P is focused on the people that we serve. The second P is really focused on processes at the state, local, tribal, and county levels, but it will provide us with an opportunity to look at our policies in support of those processes. And then the last P was really focused on performance, not just from a data-driven perspective, but in evaluating that data, determining how we would move forward or whether or not we needed to revisit what we're currently doing. So there's been a lot of new initiatives I'm sure that we will cover during this administration, but engagement is the vision, focused on realizing that engagement through the 3 Ps And then we also had some regulatory and some administrative changes to take place as well.
Okay, so you mentioned the three Ps, and as you're sharing what the three Ps are, it really had my mind thinking of the three Ps as kind of pillars. So if those three Ps are the pillars, how would you envision or see the future beyond 2024 of what child support services would look like or what it would mean for families?
So I'm glad you asked, because I would like to just lift up some of the initiatives that we've pursued during this administration that lays the foundation for the future.
Okay.
So I mentioned the P for people. And so we have pursued and obtained a final rule through the regulatory process that provides more support to our tribal community. And that rule allows us to waive the non-federal share portion and trying to set up a comprehensive child support program. This is huge. This is great news for our tribal communities because their challenges differ from those that the states have. Another example around the P for process is a final rule that we were able to obtain for our state child support programs. It is the modification to performance requirements during public health emergencies. And so we don't want our child support programs penalized for services that they are required to provide by law when there's a public health emergency. So we are excited about that change that took place. And then when it comes down to performance, I just cannot stress enough how pleased we are with a CAP program that was implemented. CAP stands for our Central Authority Payment Service, and it focuses on processing payments electronically to our international families. And that is extremely important because we want to continue to perform well, not only for our tribal families, our state families, but our international families as well. And so that is a great segue into the future. We pursued a name change on June 5th of 2023. And we're so proud of it. It has taken us more than 10 years to get our name changed. It previously was the Office of Child Support Enforcement, and now it is the Office of Child Support Services. And the reason why this is so important is because it is a commitment to the services that we are providing to every member of the family. And then it actually provides us with an opportunity to lift up all of the services that are provided in our program, not just enforcement. And so I can't stress enough how that foundation is so very important for the future, because we want to shape the future of our program to the family's needs. The family structure has changed since the program established, and the needs for our families have changed. And so we want to make sure that we are changing with it.
Well, I'm glad to hear about all of the changes underneath your leadership. One of the things that here with Riverside County Child Support Services, one of the things that I often hear is really the lack of fatherhood engagement opportunities, especially for fathers with child support cases. Very similar to other mothers and programs that are offered throughout the nation to support for mothers. You mentioned engagement. Would you mind on touching kind of what your plans are to engage the fathers who need assistance with their child support order or child support case? You touched on supporting the entire family, and that's a father is a staple for the family to help support. So would you mind on sharing the initiatives that you have that you want to discuss?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for asking. So let me start off by really and truly acknowledging the level of support that I have received in this role as commissioner. Many are not aware that the Federal Office of Child Support Services fall under the agency's umbrella referred to as ACF. ACF stands for the Administration for Children and Families, and ACF at the agency level falls under HHS, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. The reason why that is so important is because I have received an enormous amount of support from our ACF leadership on all of the initiatives and changes that we've previously discussed. And I've also received so much support from OCSS leadership on these future changes. Now, as it relates to fatherhood engagement, ACF leadership, along with a member of my leadership team, James Murray, has served on what we refer to as an ACF fatherhood work group. There's a variety of agency programs that are supporting services to fathers. There's been a one-page document developed on services provided by ACF, the entire agencies, that's not listed or limited to just child support. You have housing, employment, childcare. There's a variety of services focused on fathers. Additionally, ACF is supporting a conference, a National Fatherhood Summit that's hosted by the Office of Family Assistance. It's going to take place in August the 13th through the 15th in the Atlanta, Georgia area. And so multiple programs and fatherhood organizations get the opportunity to participate in this summit and talk about the needs of our fathers and the services that we're providing. Now, as it relates to child support, I am excited to report that we are pursuing a variety of services and support for our fathers just for child support. One is our notice of proposed rulemaking. It is focused on providing employment and training services for parents who are court-ordered to pay child support. Now, the employment and training services will be delivered by fatherhood organizations through agreements with the state child support program. This MPRM posted on regulations.gov on May 31st. We are currently in the comment period, soliciting feedback from those who may support or not support this regulatory change. So we want to encourage people to review this employment and training services, take a look at how this potential funding opportunity will increase employment and training services for parents court-ordered to pay child support. Now, that's not all. We already had this program referred to as Knowledge Works. And so James Murray is the point of contact, and Knowledge Works provides a lot of tools and recommendations to our state child support program to help them lift up, develop, and support child support employment-led services. And so Knowledge Works was already in the works prior to my arrival, and it's been my pleasure and honor to continue to support it. And then the last avenue we're taking full advantage of is a demonstration grant. The demonstration grant is referred to as Next Gen, and it too is going to focus on employment services for our parents for to pay child support. And so again, it's going to provide a lot of services to our state child support programs. It's going to allow us to expand the number of employment and training services opportunities to our state programs through fatherhood organization and different specific groups. And in addition to those that apply to this grant, there's also going to be a Next Gen technical assistance and evaluation grant that will be awarded to a state to make sure that they're taking the lead in the child support agency to manage this independent organization to provide evaluation and next steps in the process. I cannot tell you how excited I am about all of these options for our fathers.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to list all of the options. And then too, from a national level, what holistic support really looks like. Oftentimes we would have fathers mention that perhaps maybe it's a job training situation or employment situation that prohibits making the ability to make payments or to support their child for whatever reason. But it's much more than just the child support order. It's uplifting the entire family, whether that means through the means of employment or perhaps even housing. You touched on that too. So I just think that from a holistic level, especially from a national standpoint, it is really great. Would you mind just sharing those dates again for the conference that you mentioned in August?
Yes, again, this is the National Fatherhood Summit. It is being hosted by our Office of Family Assistance. It's going to take place in Atlanta, Georgia, and that's August the 13th through August the 15th.
All right. So right in the middle of August. August is a special month for child support as well. Would you mind just sharing your thoughts of Child Support Awareness Month and informing those who maybe are unaware of what August means for child support, what it means?
Yes. Again, thank you for the question. So many people are not aware that the child support program was established in 1975 with this overarching legislation to ensure that 54 states and territories had a child support program. And so once those programs were established, up and operational, I'm pleased to report that in 1995, when President Bill Clinton, he took the lead in issuing a proclamation. And he made August our Child Support Awareness Month. And so every year in August, there's an opportunity to celebrate this proclamation. And what I really appreciate is how his remarks in it talked about parental responsibility and how critical the child support program is, not only today, but how critical the program and the services it provides will be in the future. And so it's amazing to be able to celebrate the child support program in every year in the month of August. And so states and tribal, local, county programs utilize a variety of avenues for that celebration. The federal office offers toolkits and graphics and data and social media language to lift up the services that we provide to every member of the family, and making sure that not only are we educating our state, tribal, county, and local programs, but we're taking this opportunity to educate the families that we serve as well.
Over your experience within child support services, are there any dates or events that come to mind that you remember from a state, local, or tribal area of activities that other agencies have participated in the month of August? Are there anything that rings a bell that you remember that you could reference?
Well, again, the child support programs in each of the states and territories, they do a variety of things. And so it would be unfair for me to name one state or one county and not necessarily lift up what's being done across the nation. What I would like to say, though, is how thankful and appreciative we are that almost every state and or territory takes advantage of some type of opportunity to lift up not only the child support program in August, but to lift up the services that we provided, to lift up the name change, and to lift up the services we're providing to every member of the family.
Well, that's exactly what we plan on doing here in Riverside County all month long for August. Each and every day of the month, we are out in the community providing education, outreach opportunities, on-site case assistance throughout Riverside County. So we utilize August as a great time of the year to share our program and services with the communities. So we look forward to August. We look forward to it each and every year. This is our chance to not only just give back, but also listen to the parents to understand what we can do better, and then also to perhaps identify places that we're able to help support the family altogether.
I appreciate you bringing that an excellent plan for the county. I just really appreciate it. The two things that you really brought to mind is the level of engagement for people with lived experience. That is so very important because the people with lived experience, that feedback is critical on how we look at our processes and whether or not we determine if there's a change needed through a legislative process or a regulatory process. And then the other thought that you helped me remember is our equity lens. During this administration, ACF leadership and the department's leadership has done a fabulous job lifting up supporting change and services with an equity lens. And so August is a great time to not only just lift up the child support program and the services that we offer, but making sure that we are evaluating opportunities to do so through an equity lens.
All right. And this comment is really for all of our listeners. Whether you live in a tribal area, a state or local agency, please visit the website. I'm sure that your local child support agency is having an event or doing something in August to further promote and educate the community on child support services. So I encourage you to look, search Google, find out the information, get in contact to see what's happening in your area. And so I know that we're planning for August and what's happening in August. And I asked you about kind of what you envision for the future of child support services. But I just thought I'd ask you more of a poignant question, direct question. What professional goal do you have of yours that you would like to complete by 2025?
So, many may not be aware, but I have been nominated and I accepted a leadership development program with this very elite organization referred to as the Ascend Fellow Program. It is with the Aspen Institute. There's 4 cohorts or forms of information. It is an 18-month commitment. I started in March of 2023, and the program is scheduled to end in March of 2025. It is very intense, very informative. It provides an enormous amount of exposure to some really smart national leaders. There's a total of 20 of us. And so the program ends in March of 2025. And I am looking forward to completing this great opportunity. It has been indeed fabulous. And I am just honored to be one of 20 Ascend Leadership Fellows.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that with all of our audience. And I wasn't aware of that, but it sounds really, really great, especially when you say Ascend leaders, smart, making decisions, looking out what's best for the nation as a whole, as each of you guys are coming together. So I appreciate that. Right now, our coffee break is almost over. My coffee cup is almost about empty, but I know that we talked everything about our profession, child support services, the details of where we work, but I really want the audience to know something personal about you. So I have another question for you. This one's a bit more personal. What is a personal goal of yours that you hope to accomplish by 2025?
So honestly, I am hoping to transition into a little bit more balanced lifestyle.
Okay.
I love my job. I think this is my dream job. and I love the child support program. But I think I could definitely do a better job of having more balance in my life as it relates to personal vacations, a lot more traveling, and things of that nature. So I want to start transitioning into that mindset and supporting a more balanced self-care personal approach.
Self-care is the best care, so I completely understand a much more work-life balance. Well, our coffee break is over. My cup of coffee is almost empty. And so thank you so much for taking the time to be on the podcast today. You mentioned two names specifically, James Murray and you, Commissioner Gray. If anyone wanted to get in contact with your offices for any reason or any other information that they heard today, how would they do so?
So definitely, if people were trying to reach out to me directly, they would reach out to the executive assistant for the Office of the Commissioner. Her name is Christian Curtis, and that's Christian Kristin Curtis. And so I'm so very thankful for her keeping my life on track. And then, as I previously mentioned, James Murray serves as one of two senior advisors. He is the face and my rock for all of our fatherhood activities. And so I would strongly recommend that people reach out to him as well as it relates to fatherhood engagement.
All right. Well, Commissioner, thank you so much for joining us today, and look forward to seeing what the rest of the year holds.
Thank you so much again for the invitation.
All right. Have a good one. Hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you haven't subscribed already, please make sure you subscribe to our podcast. Looking forward to the next episode, and see you next time.